Hello and welcome to Talking to Introverts. I'm Denise Oliver and my co-host is
Sammy Blackford, hello.
hello. Yay, we're back with you. And our aim is to bring a podcast to you with a slant on being an introvert in this very extrovert world every couple of weeks. So we're looking at the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month in case you want to put that in your diary
I was
as
going to
to
say,
when.
mark your calendars, people.
Yeah, so that you can remember when this is coming out. So, talking to introverts, and today we thought we would talk about what it's like to be in a business as an introvert, particularly as a woman who identifies as being introverted, although I'm sure a lot of this applies to men as well.
Mm.
But we aim our businesses at women. So we're aiming this podcast at women in particular, because that's what we understand, isn't it? We
It's
know
what
what
we
it's like.
are.
Yeah, we know that we're introverted. We know we identify as women, we identify as introverts, and we also have our individual businesses, and we've come together to collaborate as introverts as well. Yes, introverts do collaborate. They're not isolationists. We do like other people's company, just not all the time.
Yep.
So, Sammy, tell me about your business.
So my business is so I'm a creative brand strategist for introvert women in small business. So what I recognize, I've been in business for many, many years. Not this business. This business is fairly new, but I've had other businesses in the past since I was 9 years old. Um, so a good 3 decades of business experience. And what I noticed was that um, the more introverted amongst us, whether you identify with that word or, the more quiet amongst us, um, the softer amongst us, find it difficult to market their business in this, as you say, extrovert world. And if you think of online business and online marketing, so extroverted. I mean, if I just say the words TikTok dancing, I think we all know what I'm talking about. Um, and for a lot of us, the more introverted amongst us, that just doesn't work. Like we might try it because it's what we should, in inverted commas, do um, to market our businesses, but it just doesn't work. So what I now do as my business is helping those people who, I have been one of them, um, to grow their business without all the um, extrovert tactics, shall we say. So from a gentler, softer, more manageable from an energy point of view um, space.
And
So that is,
what's your business name?
oh, that's a good idea. Should I tell people
Yeah,
what my business is actually
I
called?
think so.
So my business is called Sami Rainbow. So Sami, Sami Rainbow, because Rainbow is my middle name. So that's where it comes from, if it seems a bit odd. Um,
It's
yes.
very
And
cute. Very cute. I love it. Sammy Rainbow.
so Denise, tell us, what is your business?
So yes, so my business is Diva Empowerment, Diva Deva, as in the Roman word for Chester, and empowerment because I'm all about empowering women to be more of who they truly be. I've had that name for a long time. What I didn't recognize was, for quite some time, was that actually I'm all about empowering the introverted woman to understand herself more, to acknowledge that she's an introvert in an extrovert world, specifically focused on women over the age of 45 and women who've experienced loss and grief as a result of that loss. We can experience loss of our loved ones, people, of our pets who have understood us as introverts and never judged us. They get our sensitive, quiet natures. And then the things that we might have lost in life that have meant a lot to us, that can be jobs, homes, money, financial issues, all sorts of things that can create a loss. But that never living your life as an introvert You can also lose self-belief, self-confidence, self-worth as a result of that, because you think you should be doing things in the extrovert way. So like you've said, Sami, social media and the way that goes, it's a very extrovert world. We're meant to sort of talk all the time and be dancing on TikTok and all of that sort of thing. It's great. I watch those sorts of things. That, you know, the reels are out there, and yet I don't do that because that doesn't work for me. And I bet there's an awful lot of women who are in business who are telling themselves how wrong they are, and so sort of hiding even more because
Mm.
they think they should be doing it a certain way. But what if, ladies, we could start a quiet revolution? What if we could start a gentle revolution and choose to acknowledge our introvert nature and then work with that, however we want to work with it? I was
Yeah.
going to say something else.
And I think just while you're thinking on that, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, saying about like things that we lose, like loss and grief and all of that, and about watching others on social media, um, and especially the more extroverted, you know, the ones who like share every moment of their lives, it seemingly. Um, and I think that can create like feelings of loss, as in we're not having that sort of life. We're not having all that excitement. We're not going, I don't know, traveling around the world or, you know, exploring all these places or, I don't know, having all these parties and whatever else you're seeing people do on social media. And that can instill feelings of loss, like I say, and also start you questioning yourself, um, whether something, you know, you should, again, in inverted commas, be doing more of that. And I
yeah.
think the online world is not designed for us introverts.
And yet I do believe that we could claim our space there. I
Oh,
really do.
definitely.
And you're working on things to do with brand and creation, whereby you're looking at lots of ways in which we don't have to constantly be on social media. I have my social media platforms, but I'm not on every single day.
Mm,
um, that is fine by me. As an introvert, I need to step back from it. I can't be on social media 24/7. I whether that's because I've scheduled it or because I'm literally there 24/7, because it doesn't work for my energy.
mm,
And the relief and the empowerment, talking about diva empowerment, that I gave myself to do that has just been phenomenal. And the thing is, I schedule for certain days of the week, and people are now waiting for what my next post is going to be, rather than, oh, she's on social media again. I
mm.
don't want to come across as extrovert, because I'm not. Um,
Yeah,
I want to be known as that quietly, gently releasing of information or questioning that's pertinent, that
yeah,
actually works for you as the introverted woman who may identify as having lost something of herself by not understanding being introverted, who may have lost, friends, family, and not understood how to behave as an introvert with loss. Because for me, and my son died by suicide December 2021. I needed time on my own. I couldn't be around a lot of people, but oh my God, the expectation in the beginning is that you need to see a lot of people. Nope. I
that whole
didn't.
people rallying round sort of.
It's great, but it
Mm,
doesn't last. People go back to their lives, and if you're an extrovert, you might think they're going to come round all the time. And I wonder if that's part of mourning and grief, is that people don't stay around in the long term because they go back to their lives.
mm,
And so you lose them. So loss is very intricate and impacts us on many levels. And it's that recognizing as an introvert, what do you require? If you require to talk to someone and you want it done in a safe way, in a safe space, whereby you know the person will get you, then I'm that person. I can do that. And as we're saying, loss comes on many levels. I mean, people lose themselves to grief. And I've seen it, people whose pets have died, the pet that was always there, never
Mm,
judged them, was always there for them, always greeted them in a particular way. And who's going to do that with them when that pet's gone? Who's going to understand that a greeting's a greeting and then you're left alone because you need that time on your own?
mm,
And pets are great at that. Dogs are great at that. Cats, well, cats live in their own world, don't they? I can give you an example of so my background is as a nurse, and there was an anaesthetist whose pet parrot died, and they'd been brought up together. They were both 34 at this time, and to have had that pet in his life for 34 years, he was
mhm,
devastated. But there are people around him that did not get that devastation. It's only a parrot. No, that parrot had been with him for 34 years. If we dismiss the way people react to loss in their lives, then that again just sets up something else in our psyche, that there's something wrong with us. There isn't. You just need to have techniques and tools in place that help you to carry on with your life. You move forward knowing that you've experienced the grief or are experiencing it, and you can look at different ways of living your life as well, rather than being judged or dismissed. I'm
mm.
very passionate about this, as you can tell.
And like carrying on the conversation about loss, because I think it fits in so much with regards to business as well. I mean, like, first of all, you can lose a business. I mean, like, I closed my previous business 6 months ago now. And to me, that was a thoroughly empowered choice on my part. And still, there's like parts that it's like, oh no, I don't do that anymore. And like, so there's still like an element of loss. I suppose it's like if you end a relationship with anybody, there's still parts that you will miss about that. Um, but then, of course, there's the people who lose their businesses through no choice of their own, for various reasons.
Which
And
must have
all,
happened a lot during COVID.
yes,
A
yeah, I
huge
know,
amount of loss will have happened around business during COVID, and it's not
yeah,
that far. We're not that far removed from that.
yeah, I know a lot of small like artisan producers in my sort of area. I know a lot of those went by the wayside during COVID. Um, so yeah, I mean, like the last few years have just been like an eruption of loss in many different ways.
Yeah.
Um, and also with regards to loss and business, so often, and I know I have been in this place before, you can lose yourself to your business. So, I mean, how many times have you been asked in a social setting, oh, what do you do? And you talk about your business. It's like, oh, but I also do all of this other stuff that's like nothing to do with my business. But we're so, and I don't know, having never really had a proper job, um, as in like a 9 to 5 or whatever it might be kind of job. I don't know if that's the same in like employment, whether you would identify the same way if you were employed as you do if you
Well, even
run
if
and own a
even if
business.
you haven't enjoyed your job, there's been a routine that you lose. There
Mm,
will have been someone or some people that you enjoyed interaction with, even if you didn't enjoy the overall. In fact, it's almost that loss of what you imagined something was going to be like, and it never turned out to be like that.
yeah,
Loss is everywhere, and we just don't acknowledge it because we're supposed to just pick ourselves up and get on with it. And one of the things that happens is it takes our brain time to adjust.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter, as I say, whether it's the person, the pet, the thing, the situation. It takes our brain time to catch up. Our brain has been mapping our world for some time, and if suddenly I can imagine times when like banks went belly up, didn't they? And
Mm,
doors were closed and you couldn't get your money and the employees couldn't get into the building to do their job. It was like gone, suddenly just nothing. And the panic that that sets up, the stress response is very normal. That's what I want to get across to people. That is so normal. And if you don't understand, as I didn't until really quite recently, because of the amount of reading and research I've been doing, how the brain works, then you're not going to understand your response to what's going on, your reaction. And you might be told, well, that's a bit extreme. It's not. It's what happens. It's how we're programmed. Before we're born, it's how we're programmed. And this whole mind mapping that we have of places, people, things like that. So if I said to you, think back to your history teacher at school, you can't not remember them because you've mapped it. It's there. Your past is always present. And loss can creep up on us. We can just go, oh, there's nothing, I was made redundant, got another job, I'm fine. But if we don't acknowledge that loss that happened over here in the past and actually actively do something to, well, what we now know as biological markers, we don't actually dissolve those biological markers, literally the chemicals in the brain that are holding stress in place, then next time it's even worse, it's even bigger. And we carry this stress all through our lives: stress, anxiety, trauma, worry, overwhelm, whatever word you're using is your word. And I'm great with that. There are definitions of these words. I don't care. I'm not looking to make you right or wrong. It's how you are in the moment. How stressed are you right now? How overwhelmed are you right now because of what you've experienced in the past?
mm,
And it all, a lot, well, no, it does. It all comes down to a particular region of your brain and how that region is influencing how you're mapping your experiences of the world. And if some people appear more resilient than others, they were probably born like that. They had it already innate. They've learned to grow that and they understand how to navigate adversity and adapt to that. And if you've never been shown how to do that, it's never too late to learn. All about the learning. Ooh, love it. I think I'm going on quite a bit. You know me.
Oh yeah, get you started.
Yes, I
Um,
know.
because introverts aren't always quiet when they are passionate about something.
Yeah,
So from a more generally business point of view, let's zoom out a little bit.
yeah.
Um, how do you find being an introverted woman in business?
I think one of the big things I've learned is to diary my time and not think I have to be there for anyone 24/7, except myself. And it took me a long time to learn that. I'm not only an introvert, I'm an out and out people pleaser, and I can often put myself out there way too much. Instead of just acknowledging that if someone messages me at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, I don't have to respond straight away. I
Mm,
just don't. And so it's that, people call it boundaries. I'm very aware of my energy. So I just tune into that. Start of the week, make a list of what's required to be done that week. And I then work through that list. I need a list. I don't store things in my head. And that helps me. I then look at the three things that need doing that day. Am I seeing clients? Often clients can be quite exhilarating in many ways when they have their breakthroughs. I experience that as well. But I've also got to be aware that spending too much time at any one particular day with people is exhausting for me when there's
mm,
other things behind the scenes that need doing. So I'm pretty good at what is the phrase, like time, honoring my time so that I can honor myself as an introvert and what I require. I can't be on the go 24/7. It's not
yeah.
okay.
I think one of the things with people who start their own businesses, I think it's very common and not just for introverts, is that we have these dreams to run our own businesses and like creating all this flexibility in our lives, time freedom, all of this kind of stuff. And then it turns out we just create a full-time job for ourselves,
Yeah.
which like I am putting my hand up and owning that. I have been there. I have done that with my previous business. And something with this new business, um, just is asking me to approach it differently. And for me, that one of the big things is like how much time I actually give to the business. And obviously, it does need some time and some energy input, especially in the very initial stages, like the very first growth stage. Um, and also, like I've spent the last 20 years where, and this comes back to what I was saying before about losing yourself to your business. I was my business and I worked all hours and did all the stuff. Um, because that's how you get to success in business, isn't it? By working till like 2 o'clock in the morning and then up again at 5 or whatever and being chained to your laptop. And I think that's like the whole hustle culture thing did not do us any favors whatsoever. I think for anybody in business, especially for introverts in business. So I'm approaching this one very differently and also giving my business time and space. Like we were saying in the last episode about, giving introverts time and space to think before they answer. I'm doing the same for my business. I mean, like, she doesn't want to be a success overnight. She wants the time to kind of get to know who she is. And my business is a she, obviously. Um, and and I'm also making sure that I make time for the rest of the things in my life. So for like, I've re-engaged with some hobbies and interests that I haven't done for years and years and years. Um, and I think for me, as an introvert in business, and just for somebody who's been in business for many years, I think that was very much required for me right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think all of this, like you say, the hustle culture, the 50 days to 50K and
Mm,
all of this type of thing, we're not all built for that. And good luck to anybody that manages that, because I actually don't think it's possible.
mm,
The 10K months, you'll get there eventually. But to actually wear yourself out, trying to learn everything, and then going, I must do another course. I'm sure I don't know this. I must need another course. No, you don't. You just need to be more of who you are and just spend time with yourself, working out what sort of day works for you. I used to think as a mother that there was something wrong with me. I couldn't be a mother and work and have hobbies and. No, I couldn't, because I needed time to myself as well. And I wasn't getting that. I was exhausted. And because I didn't recognize that at some point in the day, I needed like 20 minutes to just be quiet, to have nothing to do, to
mm,
enjoy whatever I was going to enjoy in that moment. A bit like having a ritual, really, or meditation or yoga. That practice of just being with myself, for myself, I didn't allow, because I thought it was wrong, because we were
mm,
supposed to be able to be on the go and only and manage 4 hours sleep. Not it just wasn't possible for me, and hats off to anyone that can do it. But that I now recognise was never going to be okay for me, never.
mm,
So, yeah, honouring my time, honouring my energy, and like you say, honouring my business. What is okay for her? How does she want to show up? And
mm,
how does she want to be seen? And I just wonder how many women in business who might now be thinking, maybe I'm more introverted than I, never thought was possible before. I'm wondering how much of your energy you're spending trying to be way more extrovert, because that's what we see on social media. Extroverts appear to be able to do a million things a day, but can they? And how much of it is stress and anxiety driving them rather than quiet, gentle calmness of a slower pace that gets you there anyway. I've always said that there's the story of the tortoise and the hare, and so many of my friends are the hares galloping ahead and doing this and doing that. I am such a tortoise.
Yeah.
I really am. And yet I'm still enjoying my life. Just because I'm a tortoise and I appear to have this much slower way of being with everything. A doesn't mean I don't get stressed. I do. I pick it up. I know what it's like. It doesn't mean I'm not anxious. It doesn't mean that um, I have the perfect sleep regime or anything like that. It doesn't mean any of that. I still experience these things, but by honoring more of my introvert nature and going, I don't want to watch TV tonight. It's too much
Mm.
stimulatory overload. I'm not going to be on my phone. I will not be on my iPad looking up all sorts of different reels and things. I'd rather sit quietly with a book and just, no matter what that book is, and just really engage with whatever I'm reading. Sometimes I put on an audiobook and just sit with the audiobook, but it depends on the person reading as to whether that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
The voice has got to work. If it doesn't, I can't listen. Um,
Yeah. And I think that's the similar way that I approach working with clients as well. I mean, like you can find a business coach who will promise you 10K month in your first year or whatever it is. And that's great if that's what you want. Um, like no shade on them whatsoever. For me, I'm much more about the sustainability of a business. Um, and like sustainability has always been one of those words for me from like an ecological point of view. And now also I kind of got in the last few months, like actually it's from an energetic point of view as well. If I can't sustain this, like whatever strategies these business coaches are telling me, if I can't sustain it for, indefinitely, I don't want to know because it's just going to burn me out. Um, so yeah, putting those strategies in place and those systems in place that is going to, in the long run, I mean, initially it's going to take some input, as in setting these things up, and it's going to take some time for them to actually build their momentum. But in the long run, it's going to be there for you as a business owner and going to take a lot of the heavy lifting off your plate. Um, which is what I found with my previous business is like social media hardly got any traffic to the website from social media. But then these other strategies that I was putting in place, that was what brought the actual traffic and the customers to the website. Um, so as much as I know, like, and I still do it, like this year, I've got this goal to stop marketing my business on social media. And at the same time, I'm still using it as my crutch to kind of lean on while I put those other strategies in place and let them build their momentum. Um, and maybe once I get to that point where like all the other stuff is working for me, maybe I'll still market on social media a bit, but it's getting to that point where you're not reliant on it and you're not feeling like you have to go do the reels and the lives and the all and be posting like daily or whatever it is that we're meant to be doing these days to appease the algorithm. Um, getting to that getting to that point, yeah, everybody bow down to the
all hail the
algorithm.
algorithm. Yeah, and actually not using algorithms as excuses as
Yeah,
well for not getting on with promoting yourself in some way, shape, or form. And I think listening to what you're saying, that sustainability through kindness for yourself, gentleness with yourself and your business, we've got to have more of that. We
yeah,
just do. It can't be all about the like what's it called, snatch and grab all the time. I like to walk into places if I'm in town that have that quiet gentle aura about them, where you can have a that chat with the person who's serving you. It's not all about grabbing stuff off you, you pay and off you go. I
mm,
hate that. There are certain shops I can't go in anymore because there isn't that gentleness, there isn't that connection and communication going on. And if you are doing social media, do it your way.
yeah,
Do it with kindness and gentleness and calmness. And just know that works for you, is what I would say, because that's where I'm coming from now.
yeah. And
Um,
I think as well, like you were saying uh, earlier, um, when you were saying about like people are now waiting for your next post to come out. And I think that's a very strong, like, I know this is not what you're doing, but it could be a very strong marketing tactic because we're so used to people, because, this is what we talked about, social media marketing, people showing up in your feed every day and they're always there. And you're kind of like, oh God, what's, no, she's here again. And I think those ones that only pop up on your feed when they actually have something valuable, something that's going to contribute to you to say, that's very powerful. It's not,
yeah,
it's like delivering value rather than just being part of the noise, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. I just couldn't do it like 10 times a day. I'm not that noise. That's not okay for me. I'm not that noise at home. I'm not that noise outside of home, and I'm not going to be that noise on social media. And my daughter did challenge me when I started Instagram and I didn't understand it to post a photograph every day. My phone's a camera. I'm sure it does a million and 10 other wonderful things, but it's a camera. And I love to take pictures of my day. And I was doing that for a long, long time. I haven't posted in a long time. And I I don't know when I'll go back to it because I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to use it. And
Mm,
once I figured it out, I'll be there. And yeah, you have your Instagram page, don't you? So what is that
yeah.
at the moment?
Um, my handle on there is Sammy Blackford. Um, and I use it. It's kind of like a dual use at the moment. So I kind of use it as a bit of a record of my like day-to-day life. Not that it's every day, maybe like every couple of weeks. Like if I go somewhere, so my partner and I have got this thing that once a month we go off exploring somewhere just for the day, um, just to go and find something new and see new things and that sort of thing. So sometimes I will share that on, and it's more of a record for me, really. It's kind of like a visual diary for me. And also I talk about the work that I'm doing as well, on there. So it's kind of like dual purpose. And again, I'm like you, like you won't see me posting like every day. Like from a business point of view, it might be one or two posts a week. Sometimes then it'll be like weeks with none because I'm so inconsistent. But again, it's like stuff I don't do the post for the post's sake. If I've got something to say, I'll share it. Something that I feel like people might get some sort of value from, I'll share that. Um, But again, like you were saying, I don't want to be just part of the noise. Like social media is so oversubscribed with people just, contributing because they think they should be. And that's not me. I can't be doing that.
No, I think it's good that people know that you are out there and they can go and have a look at how you're doing what you're doing.
Mm,
And so I'll give you mine. If it's about grief and loss that you're interested in, it's Diva Empowerment on Facebook. So there is the page there. So you can go and have a look at what I'm saying. Might not be quite what you expect to find about grief and loss, because I have very different thoughts on this than a lot of the way a lot of coaches represent grief and loss, as though you have to be a total victim to it. I don't believe you do. And I think we should come back another day and talk about our collaborations on
oh gosh, we haven't even mentioned that.
no on Facebook, and in particular one that is for introverts.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just name them now, and then next time we'll come back and we'll talk about how come we came to create what we're creating together. So we have our individual businesses and we have our collaborations as well. So our collaboration that you can find as a group or a
Yeah.
page, I always forget,
Group.
it's a group, is the Women's Enrichment Cafe. Sabi and I have so much information and knowledge between both our brains that we're more than happy to share on all sorts of topics. And we love you to comment and let us know how you're doing with things as well. So we have that. And we collaborate on something called enrichment networking. So this is a completely new networking that we've created, and it's specifically for women who identify as introverts in business, particularly the micro small businesses where you're unsure of how to voice what you're doing. And we just have a very different setup with it. So I think we'll put that on hold till next time.
Yep.
We'll come back and talk to you all about that then. How's that?
Are we done?
Are we done? I think we're done.
I think we're done.
I think we're done. So, so our introverts have well and truly had enough for today, doing all the chatting. So I think we are done. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. So you've been listening to Talking to Introverts with myself, Denise Oliver, and the rather marvellous Sami Blackford. So we will be back very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.